And on here, okay. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening. Welcome to episode 50.
Is it?
Episode 50 of this season. Episode 50 of the FPL Family. Welcome, guys. Welcome. It's, well, you put how much thought and effort and time and stress went into my free hit team. And I know even if you weren't free hitting, you would have put an equal amount of time and stress and effort into this game. Free hit right now, and I'm on a red arrow. It's just oh my god. I looked at my score just before I came on, and I thought, it's not great, but it ain't going to be awful, surely. And I'm like, I'm red arrow, I'm free hitted, and I'm on a red arrow. What the hell?
You said earlier? What was it you said after the Chelsea game earlier? You were like, Hazard bench, something else. You were like, it's the most Lee from FPL Family thing to happen to me.
Oh god, you can. So the free hit is all about you can have you get free reign. You have completely free reign to pick the best side that you think for that game week. Red arrow. I just can't. No one should be getting a red arrow on their free hit. Absolutely around. But guys, welcome. Good evening. It's episode 50 of FPL Family. We will be talking about.
Cheered me up a little bit.
Well, I needed something to cheer you up a little bit. I needed
what a terrible day.
Well, listen. We're going to get the elephant in the room out the way.
We're not mentioning it. I don't want to talk about it.
We have to.
I don't like you. I don't like football.
We have to.
You
don't like football. That's it. Done.
I'm done.
Done with football.
This is
done
it.
with FPL.
I'm done with FPL. The season can end right now for all I care. I'm done.
Even though you're still in the dizzy heights of the top, whatever you are,
20k now. Done.
Still very, very good. Spurs still in the top 4.
Now I'm done.
There is much to be happy about, Sam from FPL Family. It's still very, very much.
I got a nice box of chocolates today. That's about all that's there. And some nice cards. That's about it.
So Bench FPL is saying, I think this stream may end in violence. Goodness me. Shuvik is saying we have to talk about it.
All that happened during that game was I threatened to throw a pillow at Lee. That's about as violent as it got.
And I'm sort of glad it was just a pillow, to be honest with you. I'm sort of glad it was just a pillow. We have to talk about it. We'll get it out of the way nice and early. To be honest, from an FPL perspective, yes, there's obviously some assets knocking about in a lot of people's teams.
From an FPL perspective as well, because I got Robinson on my bench.
Okay, right. Take a deep breath.
This is how bad mood I'm in now. Bad mood, everybody.
Robbo on the bench?
Yes, I'm in a bad mood. Can't you tell?
Didn't you have Pereira on the bench? That's absolute disaster. Oh my god.
My bench, I think, has actually got more points than the rest of my team.
Oh god. Well, what we're going to do is we will...
No.
I'm going to let you set the agenda.
Okay.
Because I'm very keen to talk about Chelsea, right? That's going to cheer us both up, I think. Chelsea and how bad they were.
How is that going to cheer us up? They are so jammy. I can't even tell you how annoyed I am. What is the linesman doing?
Oh.
It is so far offside. They've cheated Cardiff out of 3 points. The linesman and the referee should be banned. They are that appalling.
Sam's okay though. She's all right.
I'm not.
Don't worry, guys. She's all right. Deep breath. I feel for Cardiff, guys. I honestly do.
Honestly, if Cardiff go down, I genuinely think they've got cause for
Well, and Warnock. I don't know if you saw.
Again.
There was a video at the end of the game, and Warnock didn't speak to the refs. He didn't do anything. He literally just stood there staring down the ref.
I actually genuinely think that Neil Warnock is now my hero, because that was the funniest thing I've ever seen, because he knows he can't go mental, so he just stands there and glares at them like this.
As the refs were walking off the pitch, he went like this, as if I'm clapping the crowd, but he was obviously patronisingly clapping the ref, and I just thought,
and he just stands
Warnock,
like
my hero, absolute hero.
I love him now. I actually genuinely love Neil Warnock. I never thought I'd say that. Honestly, that actually was one of the highlights of my day.
No one, I don't think, ever genuinely loved Neil Warnock, so the fact that you do, I'm sure he will find some comfort in that.
Well, I might be watching, you never know.
Well,
you might have come in here for a bit of cheering up.
Listen,
it's
lots
not
to
get
discuss.
That from me tonight.
Lots to discuss. I mean, guys, there's lots of Chelsea players in our FPL teams, free hit or otherwise.
None in mine.
Well, I think if you're free hitting, certainly a lot of Hazards on the bench. A lot of Azpilicueta's offside goal. I mean, goodness me.
Well, if you've got Azpilicueta, you are the single most lucky people in this game week.
I think from what I've seen on Twitter and other places on FF Scout and stuff, I think a lot of the free hitters, most are sort of in the sort of 40 to 50 bracket, and then those with Azpilicueta in the sort of 55 to 65 bracket, and then there's a few that have got, above 60, 70. So I think it's all to play for if you're free hitting. I absolutely do. We've got another round of fixtures, guys. I must admit, from what I've seen so far on my free hit team, there's a lot of 2s and 1s. Jeffrey Schlupp got a 6, which I was very pleased about. Laporte got 7, got a bonus point, which I was very pleased about. But then if I look at my big hitters...
Can I have a bit of... Because I would like some thanks for that. Thanks.
For what?
Well, what was it you said to me on Friday night? Who should I get? This one, or this one, this one, this one? And I said, absolutely. Get Laporte. And then what happened? Nice little cheeky bonus point you got from him. I think you should donate that to me.
I think you actually said whichever hasn't got Edison, you should have. You just went into anti-Edison mode again. It was absolutely unreal. So guys, thank you for joining. This is episode 50, as we said before. Episode 50 of the FPL family of this season. What are we going to do? We are going to get over to the main screen. We're going to stop being all large on here. We're going to get over to the main screen over here.
God, I do need a haircut, don't I?
It's very long, dear. It is very long. It does need a bit of a haircut. So does our daughter, actually. So maybe you could go. Maybe you could go to the little hairdressers that you take her to and sit in the princess car. That'd suit you, I think. Little princess car.
Watch Peppa Pig on the telly.
Peppa Pig on the TV. Yeah.
I can't get in the princess chair. I'll break it. I'm going next week anyway. It's fine.
Right. So here we go, guys. Let's say hello to a few people. Steve Wynyard has been very cheeky here, and as we've said before on previous streams.
No, if it's Spurs, I don't want to know. In fact, I think I called for Steve to be blocked last week.
You called for Steve to be blocked. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but Steve has super chatted, so I am obliged, unfortunately, to read out the comment. Now, I'm going to not mention the first bit, but I am going to say 59 points so far for him this game. Which, from an FPL perspective, doing very well, Steve. Good. United won, so he's very happy, and he had Azpilicueta. So there we go.
Well, he's the luckiest, most jammiest player in the game.
Jammy Mr. Wynyard. Very, very good, Steve. But you are very welcome, Steve. Thank you for joining us.
Well, we think.
I say Steve is very welcome.
Lee thinks you're welcome. I'm yet to be convinced,
Sam
Steve.
says you're not welcome, Steve. You are very welcome, Steve, from my perspective. Jeff is in and moderating. Jeff, how are you doing? Good evening. JC is here. He says, go the Reds. Go the Reds. Brian,
block him as well.
Brian Springer is here, and Brian says, Happy Mother's Day, Sam.
Thank you,
Happy
Brian.
Mother's Day, Sam. Sorry for the Spurs loss. That's the sort of
comment
we need.
Brian gets promoted. He can stay.
Brian can stay. Steve can go. Yeah. Brian can stay.
Brian can 100% stay.
Absolutely.
100%. Wish me Happy Mother's Day as well.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Nice,
Mahmoud Hegazi is here. 71. Ooh, very nice score, Mahmoud. Very nice score. Ad Whitfield is here. 59 so far. Very good. Varun is here. 60 without Azpilicueta. Martial did the business. Nice pick, Varun. Nice pick. Nice little differential. That did well.
Azpilicueta. Now that is a game week that deserves some praise because he's not cheated some points there.
It's cheating. Yeah. You've got Azpilicueta. That's cheating. It's basically cheating.
Yeah, he's cheating.
Josh is in. Josh telling how you doing, buddy. Good evening. 53 without Azp. Very good. Not horrendous, but not great. I think 53 is about par, don't you? 50-ish is about par for the course. I don't know. I haven't looked. I haven't even dared go into the app to see where I am. But I think 50 is about right.
41.
41. Okay, 41. So pretty good 50. I think anything above 50 is looking all right. Neil Craxton is in. How you doing, Neil? One of our new Patreon supporters. Neil, welcome. Nice to see you over in the Slack. 52 so far on a free hit. Yeah, feels about par again, doesn't it, for a free hit? About level, Neil. Plenty of games to go, of course.
Apologies for my absence in the Slack in the second half. You might have noticed that I lost the plot a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, Slackers. You and I were quite engrossed in the game. We didn't really.
No, I did in the first half. I got in there in the first half for a couple, and then I just lost the plot, and that was the end of it.
Just throwing cushions around.
Sorry, Slackers. I'll be back later.
Felix O is here, 66. Very nice, Felix. Very nice score indeed. Simon Robertson, how are you doing, Simon? He is in. Welcome to the 50th episode of FPL Family. Otto is here. Otto Mild is here. Barry Coleman is in. Scott Harvey, 67 points, up to 15k.
Nice.
Very, very nice. What a wonderful day, he's saying. Bryce Sutcliffe is here. Sorry, I'm late. I got a note from my mum. Thank you, Bri. We'd like to see that in the live chat. Send us go over to @FPL Family on Twitter. Tweet us a picture of the late note. Be pleased to see that. Very pleased to see that.
Love that. Getting late notes.
Mr. Jobs in. He's saying the non-free hitters are winning right now. Do you think?
I wish I was.
I don't like to say yes or no on winning, but it's, I think you've had not a great week, so it's difficult to ask you this question. But do you think if you free hit this week, generally you're winning or losing, or is it all to play for? What do you think?
No, I think it's about...
a lot to go, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a lot to go. I think, so I didn't have a great day yesterday. Obviously nothing for Sterling. That's fine. You'd probably hopefully do something in the midweek. My issue yesterday was that, Lindelof didn't play, Doherty didn't start, Jimenez didn't start. I just had a nightmare.
Well, we're going to talk about the rotation a bit later on. It was savage, wasn't it, this game week?
Yeah, and obviously, Lindelof with his death threats, apparently, horrendous.
Oh, what about... Oh, goodness me.
I mean, goodness me, the man's just had a baby, for goodness sake. Who's sending him death threats? What's wrong with the Swedish?
Yes, I know.
No, just actually sweeping generalisation. Sorry, any Swedish people amongst us. I'm sure you're all lovely. But, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So I just had a bit of a nightmare yesterday. But I think generally, I think it's fairly level. I think we did say, and we have said a few times in these double game weeks, you do have to be wary of the single game week players who do play very well. I played 2 of them this week on the basis that actually so far with Mane, it's not gone great. Iwobi to do the business for me tomorrow, I guess.
Quite possibly, yes, quite possibly. Got Iwobi in there. I mean, talking about differentials, that'd be a hell of a differential.
Who knows why Iwobi's still in my team?
We just had a super chat from Carry256, who is a Patreon supporter of ours. Carry, thank you and welcome. He's saying he thought that the loser in today's FPL Family Derby had to wear the opposing team's shirt.
No. I never agreed.
I think...
You agreed to wear a Tottenham shirt if we won. I never commented, if you find. I think I just did a, what's the starey eye emoji? As if to say, oh my gosh.
As if to say, no way. So, Carry256, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the comment, but...
No chance.
I don't think that's going to happen, mate.
I don't think it's going to happen. Ever wearing anything other than the beautiful green.
Tyler Sotak is in. He's saying triple captain on Hazard. Oh, goodness me, that's going to sting.
Yeah, mine was on Sterling,
So there we go, guys. A lot of you guys in. Thank you very much for joining us. There's our Twitter on the left-hand side, at FPL Family, and we passed 12,000 followers only just yesterday. So thank you, guys, if you're following us over on Twitter.
Did we?
12k followers. Absolutely sensational. We're also at FPL Family over on Instagram as well, where you can go and chat to Sam.
Yeah, again, sorry for I've been absent
Insta's
again.
I've
been absent
from everything. What about Facebook? Facebook's amazing, isn't it?
I've been totally absent from Facebook. I literally the last couple of days I've just been we were busy yesterday and I can't multitask with the kids and various social medias.
Frankly, the Facebook was the least of our troubles.
And frankly, today I feel a bit like an Arnautovic on the TV at the moment, just chucking stuff about.
It's a bit upset, doesn't it? We'll talk about West Ham in a minute. Are they on the beach or are they on the beach? West Ham United. We're going to talk about that in a second, guys. We've got some polls for you. Go and check out the little eye on the top right hand corner. A question that's come in from FPL Tips. Thank you, FPL Tips, for sending this in. He is saying Chelsea assets. What are we doing with Chelsea assets? And we're going to start with that game in a minute, by the way, because I'll tell you what, goodness me, they were flipping terrible, weren't they, Chelsea? We're going to come to them in a bit.
They made Cardiff look good.
But Tips is saying Chelsea assets, stick or twist, or stick for game week 33 and then twist. Because in game week 33...
This is a poll question.
It's a poll question. And in game week 33, they're playing West Ham, which frankly has got the potential to be the world's worst game of the year, isn't it? I mean,
I'm betting 0-0.
Or 8-all. Because they're both that bad. I mean, who knows?
Nobody looks like they want to score a goal, though, for either of those two teams.
Oh, goodness me. And I know Tips is a big Chelsea fan.
Is it Chelsea or West Ham, that game?
It's at Stamford Bridge, I believe. It's at Stamford Bridge. And I know Tips is a big Chelsea fan, but what I like about Tips is he says it as it is. I'm pretty sure he's going to be saying, get rid of your Chelsea assets.
I actually loved Tips during that Chelsea game. He was hilarious because he doesn't come on with any pretences about his side. He's just literally like...
There's none of this, we run lucky.
No. It's just like, we're terrible.
We're rubbish.
We're terrible. I just love Tips. He's brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. And Josh telling, I think that is asked a very similar question. Chelsea assets, stick or twist, absolutely awful. Sarri's got no clue, etc., etc. So we'll talk about that a bit later on.
He's got no clue, Josh. You are right.
Do you think he's got a clue? He absolutely hasn't. He's lost it.
Oh, Josh, you've never spoken more truth in your life.
Second question in the polls this evening, guys. Aaron J. Wood at the Smiths 1986. Thank you, Aaron, for sending this in. He's looking ahead to game week 33 already looking ahead to 33. Which premium striker for the blank game week 33? Vardy, Higuain, Aubameyang, Lacazette or Firmino?
I actually need some help with this, guys. So there we go. Good poll question.
Vardy, Higuain, Aubameyang, Lacazette or Firmino from Aaron. Thanks for sending that question in, Aaron. Not sure about the Higuain, mate, but those are what the question that Aaron wants answered. I didn't put it in there.
I mean, I'm slightly perplexed as to why you've not classified Rondon as a premium striker.
Rondon, he's not in the premium bracket, but in terms of premium, in terms of ability,
he's the premium.
He's the premium. You're absolutely
should have
right.
been in that poll question.
Third and last question in the polls are: who are the first team on the beach? Is it West Ham? Is it Bournemouth? Is it Wolves? Is it Watford? Or is it poor old Huddersfield? Down and out, relegated this weekend. Jan Sievert's Huddersfield.
It is 100% not Watford. They played brilliantly yesterday.
They did actually. They did.
Not Watford.
Yes, United were...
Credit to Vinny Badder. They were brilliant yesterday and they deserved something out of that game.
I think they did. I think you're absolutely right. So get into the polls, guys. Answer those 3 questions. Little eye in the top right-hand corner. Right, Sam, I will let you decide whether you want to get the Liverpool Spurs chat out of the way.
That game didn't happen. Move on.
Or whether you would like to discuss Chelsea first.
Chelsea.
Let's discuss Chelsea then. We watched the game round your mum and dad's, and as regular viewers to the live stream will know, your brother wasn't there, but your dad is a big Chelsea fan. Quiet for a lot of the game, pondering his life choices in terms of who's he supporting, and then at the death, absolutely popped up.
It was hilarious because we obviously had our two little ones. Under his breath every now and then I just heard these little utters of like nonsense that came out. And
we are rubbish.
So, yeah, just this odd murmuring of like discontent coming from him over in the corner. Absolutely useless, Chelsea. Useless. Cardiff looked good. Cardiff deserved at least a draw out of that game.
But did you not think there was a point in that game where it got to about 80 minutes and I noticed, I think Gunnarsson and maybe one other player for Cardiff were down with cramps and little niggles. They put so much effort into that game.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And I noticed obviously in the last game against West Ham where I think they won, didn't they? Or they whatever, they played their last game and I remember them pressing really hard. That's my overriding memory from that game is they pressed and pressed and pressed the opposition and they worked so hard. And today they didn't. They dropped off. Yeah, they beat West Ham, right? And they pressed West Ham high and they put so much in. They deserved the win. Mm-hmm. Today they made different tactics altogether. They sat back, tried to soak up the pressure, let Chelsea have a lot of the ball.
Played well.
And got Chelsea with a bit of a sucker punch. And if it wasn't for, an absolutely, and let's not talk about it too much, but an atrocious decision from the linesman and the referee to give the Azpilicueta goal, he's not even close. He is not even close. It could have been a very different game for Cardiff and Chelsea. But nevertheless, Chelsea come through with the win.
But didn't you just feel like as soon as that goal went in, Chelsea were going to win that match?
I did, yes, I
did.
The
momentum just shifted.
It felt like as soon
Heads
as...
went down.
Yeah, I did. As soon as Azpilicueta scored that, I think you said there and then, Chelsea will win this game.
I did, yeah.
And give me your view on the starting 11 there. So a lot of free hitters, and even if you weren't free hitters, a lot of people bringing in Hazard. To see him benched, and I know that Sarri came out with some quotes a couple of days ago to say, look, played a lot of games, he's played a lot of minutes for the internationals, he looked heavy-legged, he said the same about Kante, who he also benched. I looked at the Chelsea starting 11, then I looked at the bench, and I thought, there's probably 5 players on that bench that warrant inclusion in the starting 11. They had Hazard, Kante, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who is a player we'll talk about briefly in a second, Giroud, potentially, I think, may have warranted a start over Higuain, who looks absolutely awful, Higuain. And then there's one other, I can't remember what the Chelsea bench looked like.
Loftus-Cheek looked good.
Loftus-Cheek was the one, absolutely Loftus-Cheek. And again, come on and look very good. So what? Very quickly, because I want to get this back onto FPL, but what's happening at Chelsea? Why is he sticking a team out there with Kovacic and Barkley in it? Why is he sticking with Jorginho? Why is he sticking with Higuain? And from an FPL perspective, how does that make you feel going forward? West Ham next, but then after that, what do you want to do with their assets?
I think it's really tough with Chelsea from an FPL point of view because as soon as Sarri made those comments on Friday, and I said to you when we were driving on Friday evening, if I was on free hit and I was going to get Chelsea players, I'd be really worried about those comments, particularly the ones about Kante and Hazard, and whether that means that he's actually going to play them. Because for me, there was 2 reasons he was going to say that. Either because he was preparing to bench them, or because he was preparing to play them, thinking if they play badly, then at least I can fall back on the fact I've already told you that they're all tired.
You thought he was getting his excuses in?
Yeah, because you know what they're like. They play brilliantly for their international teams, well, yeah. And then come back and potentially play badly again for Chelsea. I just don't... Chelsea assets, for me, they've got premium price tags in the game. So if you're going to spend premium price tags in your FPL teams, you want to spend them on points that are on players, that are returning regularly. Now, for me, it's not necessarily Hazard's fault. It's not necessarily, let's leave Higuain. It's not necessarily the defender's faults. Just Sarri's terrible. That's my honest opinion. And so I would not be paying. And I said it at the end of last stream, didn't I? I wouldn't have Chelsea assets on the basis that I don't trust Sarri as far as I can throw him.
So Gameweek 34, I think last we spoke you were planning to play your wild card. I don't know if that's changed at all.
34, yes.
So 34 wild card. Any Chelsea players currently in your thinking for your wild card?
No.
I'll be honest, me neither.
Absolutely not.
Me neither. Not even thinking
no
about
chance.
it. Let's see what you guys are saying about Chelsea in the live chat. Varun is saying Sarri is the most stubborn manager in the world.
He is.
And no Callum Hudson-Odoi. And I must admit, the Sky cameras, panned to Hudson-Odoi sitting on the bench after Chelsea had made their 3rd sub. He looked very, very upset with his life, didn't he? He just looked like, what have I got to do here?
Wouldn't you?
What have I got to do?
You've started a game for England, played really well, and yet you still can't even get on the pitch for your club who let's face it, need help.
Yeah, okay. MU Fan TV. Good evening, MU Fan. He is saying Sarri Ball is dead. Steve Wynyard is saying Chelsea in... it's a strong word. Chelsea in crisis. Would you say crisis?
Yeah.
They won today. Won a football match. Can't be in crisis. Is it a crisis?
Lee, they beat Cardiff.
I don't know if it's a crisis yet, but
wait till they come to Anfield.
It's getting there. Well, that's in a couple of weeks. I'm sort of looking forward to that.
I'll have 3 Liverpool players when they come to you.
Yeah,
that'll be how confident I am that they will get nothing.
Well, there we go. Let's see. Azzy is saying how Callum Hudson-Odoi can't get any starts. I don't know.
It's outrageous that Callum Hudson.
Sarri has failed as a manager in the PL. Shashank is saying so. There we go, guys.
If they don't stop this ban, they're stuck with Sarri as well.
Yes, I think
they're
they are.
stuck with him. No one's going to want to come.
Which manager is going to come in and want to take on a club where you need, frankly, some wholesale changes? Look at their squad. Their front 3 today was William, Pedro, and Higuain. I think.
I actually think
average age 32, 33. Right?
I think Sarri would have gone today had they not won that game.
Wow. Okay. Well, there we go. Who knows? Sarri is playing for the sack here, and he's saying, "Goodness me."
He's doing a Mourinho.
Well, listen, we need to move on from Chelsea, despite that win today, and despite the fact that we all want to get off of them because it was a very unconvincing win. Everyone. Not hiccups again. You got a tea.
Yeah,
plenty of tea. That's good.
I think I've drunk a bit too much and got too upset this afternoon.
Too excited about.
Too annoyed.
Excited hiccups. So, despite everything we've just said about Chelsea, they are at home to West Ham next game week. And West Ham, let's just touch on them very briefly because the game that they played at home to Everton this game week.
Where were West Ham? Where were they in that game?
Where are West Ham mentally and even physically right now? Because they weren't on the pitch. Everton, for their part in that game, played pretty well. They were...
didn't have to play back.
Was it Sky or BT? I can't remember. I think it might have even been BT.
It was BT, yeah, it was BT.
The BT commentary were lauding over Bernard like he was some sort of world-class player.
What was it you said to me about him? Was it his
guff,
first
Bernard.
shot on target or something?
Bernard is total guff, and that might be me and my Liverpool goggles coming on. He's Everton, I get it, but I think he's a terrible player. That was his first shot on target in an Everton shirt.
I thought that's what you told me
yesterday. And
by
the way, it was a tap-in. It wasn't. It was a tap-in. Absolutely awful. So Everton got the win, right? So I'm not about to sit here and say they didn't deserve it or anything. They did.
It's not hard to beat West Ham at the moment, though, is it?
But it's not, and I think that's the point, isn't it? So we're all thinking about Chelsea are terrible. Let's get off of them. But actually, they play West Ham at Stamford Bridge next. I fancy them to. I do fancy them to beat West Ham because West Ham look absolutely awful. Give us your feeling on West Ham versus Everton. Given that Everton, their fixtures going forward... Oh, the screen's gone a bit crazy. Have a look at the Everton fixtures on the FF Scout ticker. And where are they? They are here. So they've got a game next game week in the blank game week against Arsenal at home. Then it's Fulham. Then it's Man U at home. Then it's Palace and Burnley. So the fixtures are sort of all right going forward. What you thinking, Everton? Are you considering them?
My head is literally going to explode over game week 33, genuinely. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I've got to take at least 2 hits. I don't know. Everton, the thing is, I quite fancy having an Everton player for that Fulham game. Arsenal, defensively aren't solid, but I wouldn't fancy an Everton defender because Arsenal will score goals.
Sure.
So it's probably got to be an Everton attacker. Now, after everything I've said about the man, I cannot go Richarlison. So it would mean like...
He did have one that crashed off the woodwork, didn't he, this game week? So it was potentially a bit unlucky.
So it's potentially, I suppose, got to be Siggy, maybe, or I don't know.
So Neil Creston is saying Digne a real consideration for game week 34 wildcard. Let's have a look. To be honest, I've spent so much time on this 32 that I haven't even considered what my wildcard team might look like, other than I don't think I want any Chelsea. Let's have a look at Everton. Yeah, so Fulham and then Man U, Palace, Burnley. So yeah, the fixtures do look all right for an inclusion of an Everton player in that 34 wildcard. So I tend to agree with you there, Neil. I tend to agree with you. Calvert-Lewin is one that Carl at FPL Opinion has mentioned. I think he is one to look out for next season. I honestly do. I think Tosin he's just probably get sold in the summer. He's just not done the business since he's come in, has he? But Calvert-Lewin has come in and done a very reasonable job, in my opinion. I think he could be their key go-to guy next season. And if Silva spends a bit of time in pre-season getting Richarlison back on form and figuring out why he falls off a cliff halfway through the season, if he can get Bernard playing, which will be a testament to his management if he can, because you know my feelings on Bernard. But Calvert-Lewin, I think, could be an option next year. Absolutely. With Siggy playing well, I don't know. Could be. So one to look out for. But yeah, West Ham, absolutely ignore. I was following Tom Campbell on Twitter. You guys are probably following at UtterlyTC on Campbell. His notes for that game, and this is a West Ham fan, by the way. Tommy's a West Ham fan. His notes for that game were, West Ham were abominable, disjointed, slow, disorganised, disinterested, pitiful, avoid at all costs.
Well, after you went out last night, I continued to watch BT Sport after the game, and they do these things, don't they, where they have fans phone up and give their thoughts. They had a Huddersfield guy on there, bless him, just got relegated. We also had a West Ham fan who was did a video message, and he was videoing himself talking about how poor West Ham were as the final whistle went. My goodness, the boo that went up when they lost, and you just think, wow, these players, they're gone. They don't care.
Well, let's move on.
Don't get them.
As far as I'm concerned, they are well and truly
Don't
on
do
the
it
beach.
yourselves.
Let's go back all the way to Saturday lunchtime when we watched Fulham
Feels a long time ago,
versus Manchester City. It does feel like a long time ago, and I think a lot of us, free hit or otherwise, certainly if you were free hitting, you were going into that game with 3 Man City assets. And of course, both Sterling and Aguero were, I think, more or less nailed on in most people's free hit teams.
Yeah.
So to see Aguero go off on 56-ish minutes was obviously really disappointing, particularly as an Aguero captain. I mean, he got the goal and assist, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. I'm not going to complain too much about it. But I think, we've got to look out for the news. I mean, I'll be very, very closely watching press conferences. I'll be following @BenDinnery on Twitter. For news on Aguero.
Especially as Jesus is obviously fit now because he replaced Aguero.
Yes, indeed.
So there is the opportunity there now for Pep to say to Aguero, okay, well, we've got, the cup game at the weekend and the Champions League obviously coming in straight after that. So
my concern is that when he came off or post-match, Pep said some comments like, he felt something, not an injury, but he felt something. So he thought it was a precaution to take him off. Given they were 2-0 up, I think the game's kind of won, right? Yeah. So they brought him off. My concern is that caution continues into the Cardiff game, and actually they decide to maybe bench him and play Jesus. You've got to think that they're, Cardiff at home. Pep is going to go into that thinking, I could play Manan and win this game. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't need to play Aguero to win that game. No. I know they need to win. We've obviously put the pressure back onto City to win against Cardiff, but goodness me, they'll beat Cardiff at home even with 9 men, wouldn't they?
Of course, and they have some big fixtures coming up. Obviously, they've got the FA Cup at the weekend.
And that is the problem.
And then they've got the first leg of the Champions League against us midweek on the Tuesday after that. And then obviously they're back into the Premier League where there's big matches coming up. There's the derby against United coming. There's another 2 games against Spurs. So there's some really big games coming, and those are the games that they really, really do need Aguero. So for me, if I was an Aguero owner, watching him come off, there would be a concern there for me that if Jesus is now fit against Cardiff, where you're right, Isnan should be able to win that game for him. Does he just say to Aguero, sit on the bench, have a rest? If we need you, you come on.
Yeah, you see, I'm an Aguero captain, guy, so apologies in advance for being pessimistic or putting any cat amongst pigeons, but I think that is, it's not nailed on, but I think I can absolutely see that happening. He's going to start Aguero on the bench, and if for whatever reason they're 0-0 after an hour with Cardiff, he brings him on and they win the game, right? But it's not going to happen. They have got enough firepower with. He'd probably give Sané a game on the left. He'll probably put Sterling back right. He'll put Jesus up top. KDB obviously played against Fulham and looked pretty good, so he'll come into the game again against Cardiff. They will win that game, no problem. Then they don't need Aguero, but as you've rightly said, the games where they absolutely do need Aguero are coming up after that Cardiff game, and they're coming thick and fast. 3 games against Spurs, the game against United, and the FA Cup against Brighton, which. Actually, given their record, I think his record in the Cup so far is that he's tended to rest. He's been quite rotational, if that's the right word, in the Cup as well, Pep, this year. But
it is a semi-final now.
It's flipping Cardiff
and
in
it's
the
at
league.
Wembley.
He will beat Cardiff. So my view, guys, don't hold me to it, but my view is that Aguero will be benched against Cardiff. I can absolutely see that happening. And I think for Sterling owners, they will be absolutely hoping for a bit more from young Raheem against Cardiff.
I'm sort of hoping that Aguero gets benched and Sterling plays a false 9.
He could. Yes, he absolutely could.
That's what I'm hoping.
Absolutely could. It was interesting, wasn't it? It was interesting that he put Sterling out left and he put Bernardo out wide right, didn't he? Because KDB was back in the team. Looks like Fernandinho is ready to come back from injury as well, so that's going to help the overall dynamic of the team.
For sure.
But with KDB back in there, he stuck Bernardo Silva out. Bernard, they ain't going to sign him. He put Bernardo Silva.
You promoted him.
He put Bernardo Silva out wide right, and he did the business. A goal and assist for Bernardo Silva. Absolutely good. So he was the one, guys, I think if you were going to go all out attack, he was the one to have. Of course, I'm not absolutely, and I'm not sniffing at my Laporte pick. And Ederson, I think, got 5 points because he got booked. But Bernardo Silva,
you see,
yeah, there you go. You were vindicated.
Can't even get you 6 points, can he?
But Bernardo Silva top for BPS this game week, top with 51.
Was
he
really?
Had a very, very good game indeed. And was the one to have, I think, if you were going to go an additional attacker to Aguero and Sterling, he was the one to have.
I think you'll find I did say that.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Did you say that?
I think you'll find I said if you were going to go a silver, I'd go Bernardo.
Yeah, there's a few people in the live chat. Carl, FPL Opinion, saying got the wrong silver. Yeah, and to be honest,
it's very easy to get the wrong one though, because David could have been just as good a pick.
Exactly. And I must admit, as I was making multiple changes throughout the week on my free hit, David Silva came in and out of my free hit quite a few times. Bernardo Silva was in there a couple of times, but that's a bit like saying, I definitely was going to have him. I wasn't. In my mind, I was only really going to have him because I needed to save $1 million over David Silva.
Okay.
And in the end, I didn't need that $1 million, so it was probably always going to be David Silva.
But then you went Laporte.
But then I went Laporte. Yeah, then I went Laporte.
Well, that worked all right.
Which worked out all right. Out all right. Moshi is saying Ederson got 6 points. So I'm pretty sure he got booked, so maybe there was some saves in there.
Oh, well, he didn't. Maybe he didn't then. Maybe it wasn't the troll.
Actually, we should find out on here. Yellow cards. No, he didn't. He didn't, actually.
Oh,
no,
you've lied.
I've lied.
You've lied.
Completely lied.
You're trying to make me feel better, is that what it was?
6 points for Ederson.
Trying to make me feel better about life.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what you guys are saying. Carry256. I had Mahrez. Well, listen, Mahrez could come and do the business against Cardiff, right? If he's going to rest a few players against Cardiff, then it could happen. And frankly, if they have the same linesman, they could just have Man City's 9 players offside of the last defender. Still score goals. Aguero and Sterling likely to be benched. Steve is saying, I think Steve is trying to wind you up again, Sam. So we're going to
seriously, what is going on with Steve tonight? Steve,
stop that. Mafanello Excellent, which is the best name I've ever heard in my life.
Is his surname genuinely excellent?
It can't be, but if it was, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
If your surname was if you were Mr. Excellent,
Mr. Excellent,
oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
So good.
Can you change your name? That means I'll be Mrs. Excellent.
Mr. and Mrs. Excellent, love that.
Amazing.
He says also Sergio and Raheem going to be benched. It's obvious. He says, I'm not sure about that. This
makes me want to go into a McFly.
Azzy is saying, just happy I held off triple captain in Aguero. And, well, listen, Azzy, 10 points is
10 points would have been
not
okay
to be sniffed at. Is it not to be sniffed at? I
don't think that would have been
although
too
I
bad.
do think it is a problem for next game. I do think that he will be benched in that game. But let's see. What else went on in that game? Nothing really to talk about from a Fulham perspective. I mean, goodness me. They look a bit doomed, don't they? The body language is all over the place. Let's not even discuss it. Let's instead go to the other side of Manchester and talk about a game which, I must admit, I thoroughly enjoyed the highlights of Match of the Day last night. United came away with 2-1 victory. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now the permanent manager at Manchester United, as we know. So well done, Ole.
Very pleased to hear that, I was.
100% deserves it.
Very
so well done,
pleased.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Be interesting to see how they support him in the summer. He's going to have his eye on a few players, clearly. But even he came out after the game and said, well, look, we were potentially a little bit lucky. We weren't at our best, but we got the points, and that's all that matters. So fair play.
And he's right.
I like that. Mourinho would have come out and said, oh, well, we deserve to win or whatever.
No, Ole said it right.
Very, very on the money, I thought, with his comments there. Give me your thoughts on the game. Martial, a nice differential for anybody that bought him in on the free hit. A lot of people going Rashford, and without Lukaku again, we saw Rashford back in his favoured position. I think, he went out there to really prove to Ollie and prove to the fans that he should be the one through the middle. I noticed in recent weeks a bit lacklustre out on the left since Lukaku's been back. But bang, back up top, back in the middle. Rashford doing what Rashford does best in that position. Thoughts on the game and maybe a word or two on Watford as well? 42 seconds only, please.
I think Watford were really genuinely unlucky. I think Watford could have easily had more. They could have easily taken a point from that game. Yeah, I thought they were genuinely hard done by, to be honest. I thought the goal at the end was absolutely lovely. Lovely, well taken, well played goal.
Decore's goal, very nice,
lovely.
Yeah. I misheard it when it came on the radio, and I heard Delafeu. I was like, yes. And then it was like, no, it's Decore. I was like, oh.
Wrong Watford.
Wrong Watford player.
I thought they were really unlucky. I think Watford, given what we were all talking about with, the FA Cup game at the weekend, we were kind of all maybe expecting Watford to not necessarily put in as good a performance as they did against Man United. I think that's kind of fair to say.
I would say so.
But actually, I was really surprised by Watford. I thought they were really excellent, really excellent.
For those managers that were brave enough to get Luke Shaw in on the free hit, given that he was one yellow card away from being suspended for the next game against Wolves. So had he gone and got a yellow card in that Watford game, would have been suspended. Instead, got an assist and 2 bonus points. So if you've got Luke Shaw in, brave and fair play, absolutely fantastic.
What it has done is it's actually made me really think about Watford moving forward, because I think I'm obviously looking for wildcard potential players for 34 onwards, and
do you not think they could be a little bit beachy?
Well, let's see what happens, because if they've still got a cup final to play in,
very true.
Then I don't see that they will be beachy, because they've got to keep going, haven't they? In prep for that cup final. So I think what happens at the weekend will be kind of the proof, if you like, as to what Watford we're going to see for the rest of the season.
Okay.
If they're still in the cup, then a Watford player in my free hit card in my wild card in 34 for sure.
Okay, Carry256 is saying, is it time to get rid of Pogba? Now, it's interesting that actually Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and at perfect time in there, FPL Opinion saying, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mentioned Pogba may have to play a bit deeper. Interesting comments from an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer perspective. We've seen before when Pogba is unleashed, not just when the horses were running free or whatever it was last year, but equally in the post-Mourinho era this season, Pogba's become an absolute FPL must-have, to the point where I think he might even be the most owned midfielder, maybe even player in the game. And a lot of us are a bit... I think so. I might be wrong about that, but I think so. To the point where a lot of us, as I think...
More than
Salah? Yeah, way more than Salah right now. Salah's being sold. So wow. I got a feeling Pogba is one of, if not the most owned player in the game. And as one of you guys are saying in the live chat, maybe we've become a bit scared to not have him, Pogba. But if he's going to start playing a bit deeper and start being a bit less effective in that final third, give me your views on him. Do you think he's one that we should be considering transferring out come wildcard game week 34? What do you think?
So Pogba's actually... So I've got kind of a hit list in my head at the moment of players that could potentially go for 33, because obviously I've got real problems for next game week, so I've got to make reasonably substantial changes.
Sure.
And Pogba's on that list. But in my mind, what I'm trying to work out is, obviously I've got so much money in terms of value invested in Pogba that if I did want to get him back, that's a real issue. So I need to be sure that I don't want him from 34 onwards. And I'm not sure yet how I feel about a team without Pogba in it.
Okay.
Now, I kind of feel like I've been bitten once with this already with Salah for holding him for so long before I was brave enough to do the switch to Mane, which obviously since doing that switch to Mane, it's worked well.
Yes, for sure, yeah.
So I kind of feel like, and I did the same with Alonso, didn't I? I held him for too long, really. Should have got rid of him sooner than I did. So I'm now at that point where I'm just trying to decide with Pogba whether it is the right time or not. I'm sort of erring on the side that I probably might lose him soon, yeah.
Okay, all right. So Andrew Roper is saying, yes, he is the most owned player in the game, 43%, Aguero 42.5%, then Robbo, then Salah in 4th. So Pogba is the most owned player in the game.
Interesting.
Man United game's not that easy, MU Fan TV is saying. So let's have a look at their run. Man United have obviously got the blank in 33, then it's West Ham at home, then they've got a double in 35, which includes that huge game at home to Manchester City. Then Chelsea at home and then Huddersfield away. So the fixtures are mixed at best going forward.
Let's be honest, you don't really want to lose your Man United players before West Ham, do you?
I don't think you do. West Ham at home in 34. Would you drop Pogba for that? That would be incredibly risky given how highly owned he is and how bad West Ham have been.
West Ham are terrible.
I can see how you might transfer him out in 35, but the challenge we've got with that is that 34, when a lot of us are wildcarding, I am, and I think you are too.
It's got a double.
We're thinking ahead to what our game week 35 is going to look like, and using our bench boost chips. And right now, I don't know if I'd want Pogba in that double for Everton and Man City, but I would want him in 34 for that West Ham game. So Pogba is going to be a debate that rages on and on, I think, for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a very interesting discussion topic. Steve Wynyard, again, thank you for the super chat. He's saying, as a United fan, drop him, avoid, Steve says. That's from the horse's mouth there, a United fan saying, get rid. Absolutely get rid.
Interesting, isn't it? Really interesting.
Right, we are rapidly running out of time. We're on 44 minutes already. So where else do we go? Let's have a quick chat about Palace versus Huddersfield. A double game week for Crystal Palace in a game where, and I feel like we've said this before about Crystal Palace, could have smashed Huddersfield 4 or 5-0 easily in that game. Zaha could have had a couple of goals. And despite the fact that Miljokovic felt like a very boring pick, and I think I even used that word on a live stream when we were preparing for our free hit game week 32 teams, I just couldn't get excited about Miljokovic. I was thinking, well, chances are he's probably most likely to score from a pen, and then Zaha looked like he might be injured, and that's how they're going to win a penalty, is if Zaha gets in the box and is fouled. And if Zaha doesn't start, then they're not going to get a penalty. And that was my thinking. Well, sod's law, FPL this year, what happens? Zaha comes on, gets in the box, gets fouled, and Millie scores a penalty, which is, you absolutely 100% could have called it. So anybody brave enough to go with the potentially slightly boring pick of Miljovic got some returns in that game. So,
and let's be honest, the way Lloris is at the moment, they'll probably give away 3 penalties on Wednesday night.
So again, so it's Palace away at Spurs next game week. First game in the stadium, Spurs under pressure. Got to win the game. It'll be interesting.
1-0. 1-0.
1-0 Spurs, you think? You think 1-0 Spurs?
1-0, boring Spurs.
All right, and Crystal Palace, for their part, and let's have a look at their fixtures going forward. So Palace, after the Spurs game, they're away at Newcastle, then Man City, then Arsenal, and then the fixtures get a little bit easier in the run-in with Everton and Cardiff. So I don't think going away to Newcastle is that easy a game. Well, it's not an eeasy game. And then City and then Arsenal. So the fixture's a bit hit and miss, erring towards the side of difficult for Palace. So given that my Game Week 31 team that's going to be coming back in Game Week 33 after the free hit that I'm currently playing, I don't think has got any Crystal Palace players in it. I think I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I think I'm okay with that. Jeffrey Schlupp, a very popular pick in the free hit Game Week 32 teams. Got forward nicely, had a shot that was blocked. 4.5 defender guys out of position. I wasn't expecting big things from him. It would have been a bonus if he'd got anything, frankly. So there it is. Jeffrey Schlupp maybe get some joy at Spurs. Who knows? Now, Sam, before we move on to...
Can we just have, before you ask me the inevitable question...
Go on.
We should just mention Brighton, because obviously have got a double coming up in 34.
Good point. Yes, good point. Again, are they on the beach? Their home form has been very, very good this year, but... At home to Southampton at the weekend, Redmond in particular in that game looked very, very good, I thought, in the highlights on Match of the Day. Very direct, gave the ball, distributed the ball really nicely, got the assist. And yeah, Saints win 1-0. So have Brighton got more than an eye on the cup, do you think?
Maybe. I think, I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? Because obviously Brighton have that double in 34, which if you can have a couple of players from that double in 34, that's quite nice because it gives you that differential extra players, doesn't it? I've got Matt Ryan at the moment as my second keeper, and I was kind of watching that game thinking, and I'll do the same in the cup on whichever day it is that Man City and Brighton are playing, if it's Saturday or Sunday, and just see whether there's anybody else there that kind of catches my eye. I think for me, the only one that kind of ever seems to show anything for me when I watch Brighton is Anthony Knockaert. But I don't, I mean, even with him, I sort of thought, well, there was the odd moment or two during that game, but nothing that made me think, yeah, I really want to invest in another Brighton asset.
Yeah, Harrison Lee is saying Southampton much better in that game. They were Harrison. Absolutely, absolutely right.
They deserved to win it.
And Eskimo and Steve Wynyard saying Brighton not safe. Ad Whitfield saying wait and see on Brighton. So,
but they do have to win games because, like they've said, they aren't safe. So, from an FPL point of view, for me, going into the last few game weeks of the season, those are the sort of teams that I want to be looking to invest in. Teams that need to win. I
think you're spot on. And FPL Chancellor, so Danny's here. Welcome, Danny, saying Brighton. Hi, Dan. They're not on the beach, but they're on the edge of a cliff about to land on the beach. So they just need 1 or 2 more wins and then they're done. And
but given then that they've got on them for those 2 wins.
Yeah, potentially short term, maybe. Short term. While they've got these double game weeks, get on them. And then after that, kill it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of my thinking, maybe.
There it is. Right, we need to address the elephant in the room, Sam. We need to talk about Liverpool 2, Spurs 1. We're going to do it briefly. We're on 49 minutes already and we've got to do all sorts of things like polls and teams and scores and stuff. Before we get stuck into it, we've got some new patrons that have joined us in the last week or so. So have you got the names of the new guys that have joined us?
Yeah. So Alistair
Harrison, welcome.
Andrew Roper. And
Christiana Fryer. So Christiana, Andrew and Alistair, welcome. So 3 new patrons in the last week.
Make sure you guys join the chat in the Slack as well if you haven't already done that.
Absolutely, yes. And I think all 3 of them joined us at the Manager of the Month tier. Yeah. And for those of you that are our patrons and you are in the Manager of the Month tier, the April Manager of the Month League is open. Head over to patreon.com/FPLFamily and you can get into the April Manager of the Month League right now. The code is there and it will, if you're a $5 a month patron, it'll be in a post that will automatically unlock, and you can grab the code, go join that league, and the winner of the April Manager of the Month will get two things. They'll get a retro shirt of their choice from toffs.com, and they'll also get the opportunity to, of course, come on the live stream and talk about their win.
Ooh, a retro shirt. I quite like one of them.
Well, we've been sporting retro shirts most Thursdays, so we might just fling on one of those. Who knows?
I don't want one of our used shirts. Well, that's quite exciting. I quite like the idea of the retro shirt. That's quite nice. If you're like me and you don't have a spare league place to join April, just make sure you do it on Thursday. So after the March leagues have updated on Wednesday evening for the final time, and before April kicks off on Friday evening.
I think most of you guys will know whether you're going to win February or not by now. So if you're not going to win February, it's safe to leave that league and join.
No one's going to win February because it's in March.
All right. I knew you'd
I think
jump
you'll
on
find
that
that
straight
Frank
away.
won February.
Just like I said in the last one, get out. I tweeted that little piece of video after last time's live stream.
We're going to fall out tonight.
People loved it. People loved me to get
FPL
out.
divorce.
It's brilliant.
FPL divorce is on.
Christiana is here actually, and she says it's just pronounced Christina. Christina Fryer. So apologies. Long time watcher, love what you'll do. So Christina, thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome. Join the Slack.
Welcome, Christina, and head over to the Slack. It'd be great. We've got that community is going brilliantly so far.
Well, it is when I'm not in a strop and don't go in there.
We've got a couple of really good characters in there. There's one or two, and I'll let you guys decide when you get in there who the characters are. But there's some really great characters in there.
Just if you don't join for anything else, join to just listen to Harry's Chelsea rants. Because they are hilarious.
Absolutely right. So there we go, guys. Head over to patreon.com/FPL Family if you want to support what we do. And welcome to Christina and to you other folks that have joined us in the last week or so. Liverpool 2, Spurs 1, Sam. And I'm afraid Hugo Lloris joins the list of goalkeepers that have gifted Liverpool wins in the last minute. If I think of Julian Speroni, if I think of Jordan Pickford, I can think of Sergio Rico, and I now have to add Hugo Lloris to that list of goalkeepers that not just Liverpool salvage a point from those games. Those are all games where we have won those football matches because of massive goalkeeping errors. That is 8 points that have we've won because of goalkeeping errors. How many more times we can get lucky, I have no idea. But give us your thoughts then. Give us your thoughts on the game, and let's keep it nice and jovial and happy as best we can.
Happy? Taking the mick?
Liverpool lucky, right? Liverpool lucky. No doubt about it.
Outrageous. You're outrageous. That's all I've got to say. You are outrageous. You did not deserve to win the game. It's outrageous. Hugo Lloris is not on my Christmas card list.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I thought for what it's worth, my view on the game, because it doesn't sound like we're going to get much sense from you.
Well, what else should I say? We deserve something out from that game. We 100% deserve something from that game. You should have taken your chances when you went 1-0 up, because you had plenty and you didn't. It was a rollercoaster game,
wasn't it? It was a rollercoaster game. I think after the Firmino goal, there was about 10 or 15, maybe 20 minutes where Liverpool were all over Spurs and we didn't capitalise. We didn't get that second goal, and from then on, it felt very, very nervous. To the point where I think Spurs were starting to bomb forward in the second half towards the end, and Salah and Mane went through, didn't they? And there was a sort of a 2-on-1, and Salah took the shot on rather than passing to Mane. That would have made it 2-0. And in that moment there, I just thought, this game is not going to go the way I thought it was going to go. And I just thought that's.
What did you think was going to happen?
No, I absolutely thought I thought you were going to score. You were way better than us second half. Absolutely, you won the second half. Easily, hands down, absolutely easily. And to be honest, probably should have won the game, frankly. I mean, there's a lot of talk about how well Sissoko, Van Dijk defended against Sissoko and Son in the second half. And he showed Sissoko onto his left foot, made him shoot rather than pass it to Son. It was a fantastic bit of defending, but Sissoko got a score. He absolutely got a score. So,
from an FPL point of view, because I don't really want to talk about it anymore.
Go on.
I think the only thing for me that there is to say about it is, well, there's a couple of things. Firstly, get off the Salah train if you haven't already done it. That man showed absolutely nothing for me today again.
Got an assist.
Nothing again today.
Right,
useless. Okay. It just didn't look like the Salah that we've seen, and he's not worth the amount of money that he is in the game. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, actually, from a Spurs point of view, is that we've spent a lot of time in the last week talking about Son and Dele and Kane, but in those conversations, nobody, me included, has really spoken about Eriksen, and I thought Eriksen was absolutely outstanding today. Played really well, much better than I've seen him play in a long, long time. So I just think, moving forward, given that we have got another double coming up in 35, it's worth keeping an eye on Spurs assets. We are at a point now where we do have to win the games that we've got coming up. Obviously, we've got a lot of Man City coming up, which is not ideal. But there are also some really nice fixtures in and amongst that. There's Huddersfield, who are now clearly down, coming up week on Saturday. West Ham, who are on the beach.
So Spurs fixtures are all right.
There's some nice fixtures coming up. So I think from an FPL point of view, obviously Liverpool assets still really valuable, really important. I'm just not sure in the value of Salah. I think there are better options in the Liverpool team to go for the kind of the run-in for the end of the season. But I also think that Spurs assets, whilst we're not playing necessarily as well as we have been earlier on in the season, the fixtures are nice. The opponents, are on the beach. We've already discussed those for most of the time. So it's worth having a Spurs asset in there for sure. Now, who you go for is a bit up for debate. But
yeah, and I thought the fullbacks for Liverpool in particular played quite well. I noticed that Trippier and Rose didn't know whether to kind of go or stay. And if they stayed, then it Salah and Mane put them under pressure. But if they went, then it meant that the centre-halves were, then one-on-one potentially against Mane and Salah, they weren't sure whether to go or not. And a lot of the time they picked up a lot of space, both Trent and Robbo. And Robbo again with his 9th assist of the season, 9 assists for Robertson.
Thanks, Robbo.
So he's been absolutely fantastic
with Pereira. And
I think I might have got this wrong, guys, but I think that's the most assists of any defender in the Premier League era, from what I know.
I mean, Robertson is a fantastic FPL asset in my opinion, and I'll be holding him throughout the rest of the season. He won't leave in my wild card, absolutely not.
Okay. And a few of you guys are saying, yes, Kane versus Huddersfield is mouthwatering. That is a mouthwatering prospect. If you've got Kane for that game, that is absolutely captain season there, absolutely.
And that's the first televised game in the new stadium.
Right, okay, very, very good.
So, on that one.
All right, so let's not dwell on that game any longer. Liverpool were lucky,
thank God for that.
No doubt about it. And yeah, let's just leave it.
We'll be getting divorced tomorrow.
Let's leave that there. Let's talk about our teams. Here is my free hit team as it stands.
It's going to get worse now.
It's not particularly good, guys. I don't think it's 48, which feels very, very average indeed. It's a bit of a tale of what could have been, really. I mean, I did have Azpilicueta for most of the time that I was deliberating over my free hit, and then changed it to Louise right at the death because I felt like Ryan, Louise and Laporte was better than Ederson, Azpilicueta and Dunk. And it still could be, and Laporte was very good. I was happy with Laporte. The Azpilicueta thing is just annoying because it just
wasn't even a goal.
It's not a goal, is it? It's not a goal. Hazard obviously starting on the bench, annoying. Pogba sitting deep, annoying. Jimenez starting on the bench, annoying. So it was just, to be honest, given that you spend so much time deliberating over the free hit, just felt like it was an annoying week. So let's see, guys, plenty more to deliberate. Obviously, Aguero going off was annoying as well. I know he got the 10 points, which I'm happy about, but Fulham were there for the taking. Fulham was so bad at the weekend that I just felt if Aguero had stayed on, there was definitely more points in it for him. But there it is. Nevertheless, I'm happy with Schlupp. I'm happy with Laporte. I'm happy with Aguero. Outside of that, the others need to step up massively. And despite this saying my overall rank is up to 196, I think Fix actually has me down for a pretty small red arrow at the moment, which I guess is down to the fact that Robbo got the assist, which I think he'll be in a lot of teams.
He'll be in the non-free hitters teams probably.
Yeah, I would say so. So, yeah, not a great start, guys, but it's half time. It's only half time. Anything can happen. Let's have a look at your team so far then in this game week. 31, which is a tough week for you so far. Very tough week. Do you want to talk us through it, or do you want to just move on swiftly? Do you want to talk us through it?
Not really.
No, not really. All right, I'll talk people through it.
Sterling, I think that's unlucky. He could have easily got something out of that game. Lindelof, I mean, what can you say about that? I knew there was a risk going into Friday night, from Friday night going into Saturday, that he potentially wasn't going to play because obviously we had the news that he wasn't staying in the Lowry with the rest of the team. But in my mind, there was a real question there as to whether that was just because he was at home with a new baby and was going to meet them at the ground on the Saturday, or whether that was, and as I've said a lot of times on this stream, I've got massive problems for next week. So I can't waste a transfer dealing with a player that's not going to play. You know, I've got to be thinking a bit more long term than just for this week. So I had to roll transfer, so he stayed. I knew there was a huge risk with Doherty and Jimenez that they weren't going to play in one of these two fixtures. I actually didn't think it would be the weekend game. I fully expected them to not play in the midweek game before the weekend.
Yeah.
But I think now that they've lost that game, they kind of, hopefully they're guaranteed to start midweek now, because they can't surely afford to lose 2 games before they go into that cup game at the weekend.
Sure.
Rashford, happy with him. Mane, again, I think that's unlucky. I think he could have easily got points in that game against Spurs today.
Do you think so? I thought he was a little bit anonymous today.
Robbo and Pereira sitting on both benches, frustrating. But it's what I always said. There was a real risk that you don't pick the single game weekers and they do what they do. Part of me now hopes that Lindelof doesn't play midweek.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And then Robbo will come on, which would be nice. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it's just a bit distinctly average. But a lot of them go again midweek. Obviously got Iwobi going tomorrow night. So let's see what happens there.
Anything can happen. Still only half time.
Only takes a brace from Sterling and
couple of goals from Sterling against
be fine.
Cardiff, and everything is hunky-dory again.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So there we are. A game week rank of 4.9, which is not that great. Overall rank down to 19. But listen, loads more football to be played this game week. Let's have a look at some of the leagues and let's see how you guys are getting on. Now I'm going to see whether...
I don't think they're up, are they?
Don't think this is updated. So what shall I try live FPL?
Okay.
Let's give that a go. Live FPL. Let's see if that's... Live FPL had a bit of a wobbler last week, didn't it?
Well, it's working this week.
It was struggling. Is it? Okay,
yeah.
Great.
It was only because of the blanks it didn't like it, so we'll probably have a wobble next week as well.
So, FPL Family, live stream regulars, let's see. Ryan Foley still top of the shops with 62 points. Very nice game week there, Ryan.
He played a chip.
Very good. Free hit is played. Aguero captain, very nice. Let's have a quick look at the team. Oh no, don't link to the team. Just show me the team.
No, it won't. It always will link you.
I'm sure if I just click that.
Oh yeah, there you go. Like that.
Right, yeah, so there we go. Rashford in there, very good. Azpilicueta, yes, very nice. Shaw and Laporte, very good. Mark Nunes also with 61 this game week. Very nice, Mark. Very, very good indeed. Aguero captain, Rashford, Laporte. Millie in there with a nice 9-pointer. Very, very good indeed. 63 for James Brady. Looking good. Another Azpilicueta jammy 10-pointer in there. Lovely.
Cheat.
Martial. He's not cheating.
Does that say 83?
83 for Andrew Martin. Let's have a look at that score. Andrew, that is sensational stuff. Aspi, of course, in there. Aguero, Gaeta with a 9, but not playing. Edison with 6. Where's the points then? So Millie, Robertson on the bench, Rashford, Aguero. There's a nice spread of points there. So 83. Has he got 83 out of that? Is he bench boosting?
Must be.
Yes, bench boost. Could be bench boosting, yeah, absolutely. So very good. Robertson on the bench with 8 then as part of the team. Very good. Here's an 86 from Usman Shah. Last one we'll have a look at. 86. Triple captain on Aguero. 30 points. Very nice indeed. Van Aanholt did well at the weekend, didn't he?
PVA doing bits for a change.
Could have had more than 1 goal PVA as well. So very good indeed. So some nice scores, guys. Some pretty good scores. Liking the look of that.
What's going on with March?
What's going on with the March Manager month? Let's have a look. How do I do that? Choose league and instructions. It's this tiny little button here. Manager of the month from Manager of the Munch. Manager of the month for March.
Gareth still at the top.
Let's see. Gareth Edser still leading the way with only a handful of games to go. Total points 256. A nice healthy lead over Keith actually. What's that, like 18 points or something? So Gareth in pole position for the £100 kitbag.com voucher, which is the Manager of the Month prize for March, and an appearance on the FPL Family live stream in a couple of weeks. So Gareth looking good. Mark also up in third there with a nice game week of 61, 222 points overall. So a lot to do there for Mark to make up 30 odd points, 34 points. So it's looking like Gareth Edser is going to be the winner. But still, listen, there's all to play for. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. So Gareth, good luck on Tuesday and Wednesday this week when we look at the next round of fixtures. So much football still to go. Lots to go. I don't know whether we can call the free hit a success or not.
Well, we'll find out by the end of Wednesday night whether it's been successful or not, won't we?
I'm sure we will find out then. In the meantime, guys, let's have a look at the polls before we go. So we'll have a look at those.
The polls.
And you can answer these questions for me, Sam. See what you think.
Okay.
Chelsea assets, stick for 33, then sell, or just get rid. Sell.
I mean, I would want to sell them immediately, but I think with that fixture in 33, you have to stick.
Stick for the West Ham game, then get rid. 77% of the community agree with you, which I think is a very sensible thing. I think it's a sensible thing.
Too few players anyway, let alone players with a decent game.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the next game week coming up is difficult enough to navigate as it is, right?
Yeah,
so if you've got Hazard, you've got Aspi, you've got Louise, you've got anybody else, then there's no way you're taking them out, given that there's so much other stuff to have to contend with. So stick for 33 and then sell. I'm guessing that there'll be a mass exodus on the wild cards. I can see that happening. A premium striker for game week 33, Sam. Vardy, Higuain, Aubameyang, Lacazette or Firmino?
I'm really struggling with this myself because I'm going to lose Kane for one of these for 33. And I don't know whether to go Aubameyang or Firmino. That's who I'm toying between.
The pen is going crazy. That means the cogs are whirring. Firmino, let's see. 10% only agree with you. Vardy. Little rat face, actually. 58%.
I'm not going Vardy. Who are they playing? Leicester. Huddersfield, of course.
Oh, there you go. There's the answer. 58% going for Vardy. 17% going for Aubameyang.
I don't know if I can bring myself to have Vardy.
10% on Firmino, 9 on Lacazette, and 5 for Higuain.
Kane to Vardy feels a bit dirty.
No, I just don't want to do it.
No.
Only 5%. No love for Higuain, otherwise known as the tree. He literally just stands there and does nothing. First to the beach. West Ham, Bournemouth, Wolves, Watford, or poor old relegated Huddersfield. Who's on the beach?
West Ham.
West Ham, I think. 75%. I asked that question a bit tongue-in-cheek, really, because the answer is undoubtedly West Ham. I noticed that if Real Madrid can't get Hazard in the summer...
They want Felipe Anderson.
They want Felipe Anderson. What have they seen in Felipe Anderson that suggests that he's going to be any good at Real Madrid or get a game over there?
No, but they want someone to sit on the bench, don't they?
Oh, who knows?
I don't know, but I mean, Felipe Anderson can score you points every sort of 4 to 5 weeks. So as long as they only want someone to play every 4 to 5 games, you're fine.
Well, there we go. West Ham first on the beach, according to you guys, 75%. Huddersfield, 19%. Bless them, they are down and officially out. Wolves in at 3%. Bournemouth and Watford on 0% each. So there we go. West Ham absolutely flip-flops on. Everyone's booked their tickets. They are already building the sandcastles. They've got the ice cream. Having a lovely time.
Oh, I can't wait till the summer we can have an ice cream.
Absolutely on the beach already. Well, the summer is poking through here, isn't it, in the UK? The sun is poking through. We had an alright weekend.
Yeah, but we're not going to have a very nice week.
Are we not?
But then it's going to pick up again for the Easter holidays and it's going to be lovely.
Well, listen, that is it, guys, for tonight, for episode 50 of this season's FPL Family. I'm afraid we're not going to be able to stream on Thursday night. We can't stream this Thursday.
Lee's away.
I have work commitments. Guys. I've got an award ceremony of all things to go to.
I'll just stream by myself.
I'm not getting an award. I'm just making up the numbers on the table.
Just sit here by myself.
So you get
random nonsense.
The guys would love that.
They would love that. Nobody's going to want to listen to me talking absolute, particularly if Spurs lose on Wednesday night in the first game at the new stadium.
Can you imagine? It
would just be me with a cup of tea having a rant.
It would be a disaster. So the only way, guys, we're going to be able to keep you informed of what's going on in the March Manager of the Month for our Patreons League, and indeed our updates on how our free hit and our triple captain are going on, is on our usual social media. Get over to
I promise I'll
FPL
do better.
Family.
I'll do better, I promise.
Better than what?
Than I did this weekend. I was useless.
You actually do some posting?
Yeah, I will, promise.
Very good, very good.
I will. From tomorrow, I will post.
There we go. So listen, that is it, guys. At FPL Family on Twitter, at FPL Family on Instagram, if you want to stay ahead of how we are getting on. Sorry we cannot live stream on Thursday, but we will be back this time, same time next week, 8 PM Sunday, when Game Week 32 will be done. Game Week 33...
Don't forget, Game Week 33 starts on Friday.
With Liverpool, right?
Yes.
Liverpool on Friday.
Yes.
So that's actually a good point. So if you're
7 o'clock deadline.
If you're a patron, you're getting into that April Manager of the Month. Do it sharpish if you can. Do it as quickly as you can, because you need to do it Thursday. Don't wait till 7 PM Friday thinking, I'll do it Saturday morning. You'll miss out.
I'm going to do it Thursday, so I'll post in the Slack to remind you all to do it.
Absolutely. Get into the Slack. The Slack is going great. We love that. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us. At FPL Family, Twitter, Instagram. Good luck with the rest of Game Week 32.
Green arrows, we hope.
Green arrows, maybe. Who knows? I've got no idea, guys. Good night. Thank you for joining us.
Take care, everyone.